in and didn't. That was why I was.
So it's not offered to prove that the person in the video is Relli. It's being offered to prove,
His belief.
to show why Detective Flores did what he did.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's fair.
However, the videos they collected before he came to the initial conclusion that it was Relli. So they didn't go collect the videos because he realized it wasn't Relli. The videos they collected were all collected from the outset, everyone. And after that, at the preliminary hearing, for example, he testified, yes, that's Relli. I believe that's Relli. Based on what he told me, that's Relli. So what was just proper as an offer to Ron was that I should be able to ask him that question to explain their further investigative steps.
You should ask him what question? You should be able to ask him what question?
No. They just said, they shouldn't be asking that
shouldn't.
question because they just said to you, they prompted you that the reason they should ask him that question, should be able to ask him that question, is because it explains their further investigative steps, i.e. to go get the videos. The videos were gotten early. They got no additional videos after they came to a conclusion initially that lasted up until the preliminary hearing in the 30s, that was relevant. So they didn't take any additional further steps once they changed their opinion or their mind. They changed their mind based on his testimony, obviously. But in 2023, under oath, this detective, who I think is a terrific detective and a nice guy, said under oath that yes, my opinion is relevant. They didn't take any additional investigative steps after that. So it doesn't explain investigative steps. You made a ruling on it. What you're looking for what?
No, you're saying he didn't take any additional
There
investigation.
was nothing else. There was no videos to collect. You just said,
What's the next thing he did? After,
No, that, he's exactly making the point that I want to make, which is they did believe that was Terell up until very recently.
Okay, so
They
what's
couldn't
the-
have gone back to go.
so what did Detective Flores then do, based on his belief that was relevant?
But he stopped collecting video at that point. He thought, okay, we have him here, that's him on the video, we don't need any more video past this. Fast forward to piecing together other information, details from timestamps, that he now knows, oh, we didn't collect enough video, we should have collected more, because that could have captured him.
I've heard from both of you, here's the rule. It's, the offer of proof is fair game. You can ask the question, Mr. Tacopina, you can follow it up with, are you gonna cross-examine him, or is this? Say again?
yes,
Guess what?
yes, I'm the person.
Oh, you are. All right,
Yes.
you can follow it up.
Thanks.
All right, Detective,
Can I talk to them for 1 second?
Again, I asked for,
Give me a second.
I'm not on council, that, I asked court for about 15 or 20 minutes between the direct and cross, on 12.
fine.
I'm just letting you, Judge, I'm just letting you guys know.
I don't think we get into 12 today. Because we have, we go to 4 minutes, right? I have at least an hour.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, I know based on where we are now.
All right. So after the detective is the firearms person?
Yes, you can be ready tomorrow.
Is he, and he's your last people's witness?
Yes.
All right, so,
That won't matter.
we will get to the defense case tomorrow.
Yeah, after that, we'll listen first. Yeah. Wait a minute, Your Honor, because I thought you made a ruling, and I changed my whole course at lunchtime, so now I have to unchange my course, so give me a minute, please.
Let me know when you're ready for this. How much longer do you have on your representation?
I,
Just rough,
I honestly think about an hour. I have this and then the search warrant and then, you know. I was something I want to talk to them about before we go back on the pre-jury, so. It's a good time.
I just need a second.
Go ahead. Oh, this is understood the calls. Relli's phone calls to
this has was two large sizes magazine. So what I'm gonna suggest is we open it up and come out and we're able to go to him and then he opens it. Can I borrow your knife?
Just what you need. Oh, well, by the way, why do you have that? I thought that's crazy much.
Never mind, I copied that.
It was a gift.
Why do you do that? Have a look at
I'm not mad, I'm never mad at anything.
All right. I go to that while you letting in your night.
Make you think I'm
That
not
makes
mad.
it, that feels
I'm
right.
not mad.
All right, good. Now use the restaurant. I don't know if
Of course,
that's- Oh, yeah, right. It's the joy out there.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I didn't see it, he was similar to us, so.
You know who it was?
No, I didn't see it, but I missed it by.
No, who the lawyer was?
No, I think he's not a prosecutor.
Do you know who it was?
No,
I heard about that.
Just no interaction,
Let me off the record, let me see about something unrelated. Come on up. What up?
So right before the break, I played you the video of an individual returning to that intersection at Vista Del Mar and Selma after the shooting. And we talked about up until, when you collected that video, you initially believed that that was Mr. Efron, correct?
Correct.
And the last question posed to you was, as you sit here today with the information that you know from his text messages, comparing his clothing, the timestamp on the text message, on the photograph, are you still of the opinion, or do you still believe that that is Mr. Efron?
I do.
Okay. There was a video clip played while Mr. Efron was testifying, which was a portion of an interview that you conducted with him in, I believe it was, I want to get the date wrong. One moment. So, it's from your interview with him on December 17th, 2021. Specifically on page 3, lines 14, 15, and 16, where Mr. Efron says to you, at this point, you were showing him surveillance video, correct?
Correct.
And I believe, if you need to go back to the video to refresh your memory, we can, but I believe at that portion, you were trying to queue up the video to show him. Does that sound accurate?
Correct.
And while he's sitting there, he says to you, and you see my girl, right? That was my girl I was with. You recall that?
Yes, I do.
At the moment that Mr. Efron said that, were there, what was displaying on the video that he was looking at, or was he even looking at video at that exact moment?
I believe this is a secondary clip of the time period which we thought he had returned to pick up the casings, which was, I believe, 23:10 hours
But you
on the
were,
day of the 6th.
okay, you were there when he made those statements.
Correct. Yes.
Did you receive that as him pointing out that that's my girl on the clip, or did you receive that as him asking you the question, do you see her on this?
I took it as, do you see her?
Not that he was specifically pointing something out.
Correct.
Okay. Let's go back to the surveillance video. And I want to move on from this location number 2. Now continuing around with Del Mar to location number 3. Can you describe that location for the jury?
Yes, I think 3 and 4 were residential units that had cameras facing outward towards Vista Del Mar, in the portion kind of between the Bend and El Centro.
So I just want to clarify. You said number 4
I'm sorry.
was the loading dock, correct?
Yeah, 3 is, it has the 2 angles towards Vista Del Mar, and yeah, 4 is facing El Centro.
Okay. So 3 was a private residence that had cameras there, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall anything about the cameras, like where they were oriented, or?
They were oriented, pointed kind of at street level. It's an apartment or a unit that's on the ground, so they were kind of facing out at kind of eye level, or from the window,
Onto Vista Del Mar?
onto Vista Del Mar,
Okay, and,
from the inside.
let me pull up one of those camera angles and then ask you some questions about it. So I'm going, Your Honor, on People's 15. The second file is labeled 6200 Hollywood Boulevard Residence. And within that, there's 3 video files that are labeled, 3 files labeled camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. I'm going to focus on camera 2. The the first video file in that folder is labeled 1A220214. So, detective, I have this paused very early in the video. I can't honestly read the timestamp, but it's got to be very close to the beginning, correct?
3 seconds.
Okay. All I want where this is paused is can you orient the jury to what we were looking at on this, from this camera?
Yes, this street in front of us is Vista Del Mar as it comes around the bend from Selma. So the street comes up and this is the bend that leads to El Centro on the far left. The building across the street is part of 1616 Vista Del Mar. That have the different angles being from Selma up through Vista Del Mar and then here on the bend on the way around.
And this camera specifically, camera 2 from this location that we're looking at, it has coverage that overlaps with one of the cameras on 1616 Vista Del Mar, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Last feature I want to ask, a couple features I want to ask about this. This camera, did it only capture video or did it also capture audio?
It also had
All right. There's like a bluish tinge to the video. Do you have any idea what that is?
I believe there were some lights that the owner or occupant had on the inside that were kind of reflecting off the glass.
Okay. All right. I'm going to fast forward this to trying to get it to. Okay. Actually, let me pull it down to repeat for me to see the timestamp. We started at 14:30 on the video player. And Your Honor, I believe with this video player, when it gets to the end of the clip, it will automatically start playing the next clip, which is 1A221716. That makes sense. All right, I'm going to start playing from here. As it switches to the next clip, Detective, what did you hear in that short portion of video that was played?
Two loud noises that to me appeared to be gunshots.
Followed by?
The sound of a horn after the first gunshot that set off like a vehicle alarm. That would be my best guess.
So when you say horn, you mean car alarm?
The car alarm.
Okay. Up to this point in the video, have you seen any people or any movement on the video itself?
No, not at the point of that the shots are heard.
Okay. I will continue to play it from here. So you jumped away. Sorry. Timestamp.
The time in is 15 seconds.
Okay. And what have you seen on the video up to this point?
The sound of the appeared to be gunfire, followed by two individuals coming from the area just south of this, which is coming up from Selma and coming around the corner here in front of the camera. Seconds after.
And would you agree with me, there's two people that are depicted on the screen right now?
Yes, one after the other.
And which one's the first one that appeared?
The one in the black hoodie,
And then the second person?
the second one appeared to have a red jacket.
And were those individuals consistent with the individuals you saw from the 1616 Vista Del Mar address?
Yes,
All right, and they're, which direction are they walking towards?
they are walking north to east towards El Centro.
Towards El Centro.
Correct.
All right. All right. All right, let's pause it there. Can you tell us the time on the video player?
Sure. It's 55 seconds in.
Okay, and that, that last individual or the individual that we see on the screen where it's paused here, can you describe that individual?
Yes, it appears to be the last individual from the prior video off of Vista Del Mar. The individual wearing a blue jacket and blue hat.
Okay. And also walking towards which street?
Again, he's walking northbound Vista Del Mar to eastbound Vista Del Mar towards El Centro.
Okay. I'm gonna read the second stipulation. Stipulation number 2, video surveillance from 6200 Hollywood Boulevard at private residence. LAPD Detective James King downloaded surveillance video with audio, email from the homeowner of a residence at 6200 Hollywood Boulevard in Hollywood. The residence was located on Vista Del Mar Avenue, west of El Centro Avenue. The video and audio were originally recorded between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. on November 6, 2021. The surveillance video contained in People's Exhibit 15 is a true and correct copy of that video. The video, date, and timestamp are accurate as to actual time.
Does that stipulate to that?
It's civil.
It's, they're all signed stipulations, so, do you used to agree on the record, or is it enough that it's a signed document?
Those.
Sure, I think the jury's entitled to look at specific. Both sides stipulate to that.
Yes. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go back to People's 33. Now, so far, would you agree that those 3 individuals that we've been tracking have in general been following the red arrows, starting at 1 and working their way towards number 3?
Yes.
All right, and then if they continued on that path on Vista Del Mar, they would get to El Centro, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and I want to go to location number 4. So that was, you said earlier, was a loading dock.
Correct.
I'm going back to the folder in People's 15, Your Honor, labeled 6200 Hollywood Boulevard, in parentheses, WNPM. And I'm playing the video file that starts with .ext loading dock. Detective, where's that pause on the timestamp? Can you see?
7 minutes, 24 seconds in.
You can go back just a little. Yeah, do that. Would you read the timestamp for us?
Yes, here on the lower left, it's 6 minutes, 39 seconds.
Okay, on the video player, correct?
Correct, on the video player here on the left corner.
Okay. Can you orient the jury, as this is paused, what the features of the video are?
Yes, so this is the loading dock, which is facing El Centro here, which is the main street in front of it. To the right is the street here, where the pointer is. That's Vista Del Mar, where Vista Del Mar meets El Centro. So these individuals are coming in off of Vista Del Mar, walking northbound. The street up from this location is Hollywood Boulevard, which would be north. So we're looking at a kind of a southerly direction. They are walking northbound.
Okay. And I will keep playing. I'll play, this is a short clip, I'll just play it from here. All right, if, would you tell me the timestamp where it's paused on the player?
Yes, lower left corner, it's 6 minutes, 54 seconds.
All right. I know there's a number of individuals on that video, but the two that walked from the direction of Vista Del Mar towards Hollywood Boulevard, can you describe them?
Yes, one of the individuals is wearing a black hoodie with kind of a design on the hood. The other individual is wearing a kind of distinctly colored, kind of reddish jacket with black.
Okay. Let's start with the man that you described with the black hoodie. I'll mark my next exhibit here.
36.
It's a document with two still images from the surveillance video, side by side. Detective, showing you these two still images, do you recognize what you see here?
Yes,
Can you describe them to the jury?
yes, the photo on the left is a still from the parking surveillance camera or the incident.
Hold on. You have water?
Yes, it
You want a,
is.
you want a break?
I'm okay.
You think you're okay or you're okay?
I'm okay.
May you continue with the answer? Or we still want to?
Let me.
Fine.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. It's your number one. You're all right.
Yeah, the photo on the left is a still from the first surveillance camera located at the parking kind of lot entrance. And the second is still off the camera from the loading dock on El Centro. So one on Argyle, one on El Centro. Kind of the start and the end of where we kind of started capturing video, kind of the last point where we captured video.
Okay. And Your Honor, I'm going to make 36, if I can go back, make it a 2-page document. So I'll make this first page that we just talked about, that I was referring to as 36, I'll make that 36A, and the second page will be 36B. With the court's permission.
Yes.
36B, I would describe it for the record as similar to 36A. It's two still images from the surveillance video side by side. just displaying different features of the clothing on the left-hand side photograph. All right, detective, do you recognize what you see here?
Yes, I
Can
do.
you describe it for the viewers?
Again, the first photograph is from the still from the parking entrance on Argyle, where the incident began. The second one is from the loading dock off of Central. Just looking at the similarities from my point of view, there were obviously the design, specific design on the sweater, specifically the chest area between the first camera on Argyle and the second camera off the Central.
Okay. I'm gonna mark two more exhibits, 37 and 38. They are similar to 36, Your Honor, but 37 has side-by-side photographs depicting the man in the red jacket, and 38 has side-by-side photographs depicting the man in the blue jacket. All right, detective, showing you equals 37. Do you recognize what you see here?
Yeah, yes.
Can you describe, we'll just describe it for the jury if you would.
Again, one's a screen capture from the surveillance camera off the Argyle, the parking lot entrance. The second one is a screen capture image from the loading dock entrance off of El Centro. Specifically looking at the red box that's outlined, where it is a kind of right shoulder area with an individual wearing a jacket that is consistent with the individual off the second image off of Central.
Okay. And lastly, equals 38. Do you recognize what you see there?
Yes.
And what's that?
Again, one photograph is from the camera off the parking lot entrance off Argyle. The second screen capture is off of one of the cameras on Crystal Red Mar. I believe this is right off the turn, headed towards El Centro. And specifically between both photographs, I can see that it's the same individual based on the hat, the clothing, a lot of similarities that would give me my opinion would be that it's the same individual.
As the detective assigned to this case, or as the handling detective, were you aware of when the defendant, the man seated at the counsel's table with the jacket on, was arrested in this case?
Yes,
What date was that?
it was April 20th, 2022.
And where specifically was he when that arrest occurred?
That was at LAX,
The-
Los Angeles Airport.
Okay. That same day, did you search any locations?
Yes, we conducted a search pursuant to a search warrant of his residence.
Okay, and we have agreed to refer to that residence as his West Hollywood home, so we would not state the address. In order to conduct that search, did you obtain a search warrant?
Yes, we did.
And were you personally present when his West Hollywood home was searched on April 20th, 2022?
Yes, I was there. I was present.
Would it be fair to describe that house as a relatively large house?
Yes.
How, in general, was the search of that house conducted?
It was conducted with a team of officers and detectives that assisted the search, securing the location primarily first, and then going through each room and area systematically looking for specific items that we were searching for related to this case.
And did you say there was a team of people? Did you kind of split up the room so that one part of the team would search one room and another part would search another room?
Correct.
When anything of significance was located, what would be your involvement in that?
I was called over and the item was pointed out, and I was given information as far as what condition it was in or where it was originally seen.
During the search of his residence, were you alerted to multiple firearm-related items that were found in his house?
Yes, including things we were looking for and other things that we weren't, anything substantial that they wanted me to look at, I went there and looked at. It wasn't necessarily everything that we seized.
But would it have been everything firearm-related?
Yes,
And if you can narrow it down to one room in the house, what room was the firearm-related evidence observed in?
it was what I kind of described as the master bedroom of the house belonging to Mr. Myers.
Okay. Did you observe any firearm-related evidence in any other rooms in the house?
No.
Let's start with the actual firearms. Did you observe any actual guns in this house?
Yes,
How many?
3.
And if you can describe for the jury, can you distinguish between the 3 of them or describe them each in a unique way?
Yes. One I would describe as a rifle, another as a shotgun, another as a handgun.
Okay. Paragraph 6 pages. If they may be marked as people's 39, A through F. Let's start with equals 39A. Do you recognize the area that's depicted in this photograph?
Yes, I do.
And what would this be?
That is the an angle of the master bedroom facing the bed.
Okay. Would you agree, would this be the same room that you've been talking about where the firearms were specifically located?
Correct.
All right, we go to 39B. Do you recognize what you see here?
Yes, that's a side table adjacent to the bed.
Okay. There's an item with a red rectangle around it, just above that side table. Can you make out that item?
Yes,
What is that?
it's a handgun.
And would that be the handgun that you were describing earlier?
Yeah, I described it as a kind of a large caliber handgun.
All right, before we move on, there's another set of boxes or items at the lower left-hand corner with another red rectangle around them. What's that?
Correct. I believe that was the case where the rifle and shotgun were contained.
Okay.
Carrying case.
Let's start with the handgun. That item, would you agree, was directly behind, essentially like the headboard of the bed?
Yes, kind of behind the bed.
All right. I'll show you 39C. Do you recognize what you see there?
Yes,
What is that?
that's the handgun. Again, I've described it as a large caliber handgun.
Just a close-up of the same gun that you just pointed out.
Correct.
Okay. Do you know what caliber handgun that was?
I believe it's a 44 caliber handgun.
Are you positive that it was not a 9mm handgun?
Yes.
Did you inspect the gun?
I saw it where it was, and as the detectives had found it, located it, came to me. I don't recall picking it up and handling it myself.
Did you inspect it enough to determine whether or not it was a real gun?
Yes.
Was it a real gun?
Yes.
Do you know whether or not it was loaded?
I do not know.
Is that a revolver or a semi-automatic?
That's a semi-automatic.
And is there a magazine for that handgun?
Yes.
Is it loaded? Is it shoved up inside of the grip?
From this angle, it looks like there is a magazine seated in the weapon.
Okay. All right. I'm going to move back over to People's 39B and focus on the items at the bottom left-hand corner. And for that, I'm going to display People's 39B. Do you recognize what you see there?
Yes.
Just a better angle of the same outside boxes, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Go to 39B. What do you see there?
Yes, that's where you see the one case that's been opened. You can see inside, I believe that is the rifle.
And when you see that item, it's closer to the bottom of the page, because there's two boxes here, correct?
Correct, there's two boxes. So I'm looking at the lower box here, specifically, it's kind of cracked open and you can see the inside. And I can see the bottom end of what I believe is the rifle.
And did you inspect that gun close enough to know if it was a real gun or a fake gun?
Correct, yes.
And what was it?
It's a real gun.
And does that gun fire 9mm ammunition?
It does.
Okay. And then lastly, 39F. Do you recognize what you see there?
Yes, here on the right. So both cases are now open. The case on the right specifically, I can see the outline of the shotgun, also in addition to the shotgun shells in the carrier of the stock.
Let's see if I can get the glare off there. It's kind of hard to see. Oh, it's getting better. The shotgun you described as being on the right-hand side, correct?
Correct. Shotgun's here on the right, the rifle's on the left, and that's two separate cases.
Got it, okay. And with the shotgun specifically, did you inspect it close enough to tell if it was a real gun or a fake gun?
Yes,
And what was it?
it's a real gun.
Okay. Will that gun shoot 9mm ammunition, the shotgun?
No.
Did you collect any of those guns?
No.
Why not?
They weren't part of what we were looking for pursuant to the search warrant.
And was that specifically 9mm caliber handgun?
9mm caliber weapons and the evidence of possession, purchase, anything related to a 9mm, specifically 9mm handgun.
Okay. Those three guns in that location, would that be where they were when you first observed them?
Yes,
In close proximity to the bed in the master bedroom?
yes.
Okay. In addition to the three guns that we just talked about, was there any other firearm-related evidence that you were alerted to in his home?
Yes.
What was that?
A magazine, a 9mm magazine for a Glock 23, collected from a box in the master bedroom closet.
Now, I'm gonna mark two more photos, to 40A and B. you see there?
Yes,
And just to orient the jurors, this white object on the left lower hand corner, would that be the bed?
yes, this is from the headboard view, the headboard looking towards the foot of the bed. On the right is the kind of walk-in closet. On the left is the kind of walk-in master suite bathroom. And then I think there's a sliding glass door here on the far left leading out to kind of a balcony.
Okay. Lastly, I'll go to part B. Do you recognize what you see there?
Yes,
And what is that?
that's a box containing ammunition, magazines for a rifle, and specifically in this,
Magazines for,
or a rifle.
thank you.
Sorry. And in the center here, there's the magazine that was recovered containing live ammunition, specifically 9mm ammunition.
In that photograph, underneath the magazines, it looks like there are a number of boxes. What are those boxes?
The boxes underneath are ammunition, I believe, that was consistent with the rifle that was in one of the cases.
Were any of those boxes consistent with 9mm ammunition?
No,
You said that magazine was for a 9mm handgun, correct?
Correct.
Smaller one?
yes, I believe it's a Glock 43.
Okay. And was that 9mm magazine collected along with the ammunition that was loaded inside?
Yes, it was.
I have two envelopes here, Your Honor. In agreement with the defense, they are inner envelopes that were taken out of a larger outer envelope. Another item that was in the outer envelope is not being used, so it will be returned to the detective, and we're just using inner envelopes.
So that's part of 32? Or do you want to mark it separate?
I think I want to mark it separately, Your Honor, and I'll mark each of the envelopes separately, just so we don't get them confused.
This was going to be 41.
I'll mark the magazines 41. And I'll mark the ammunition as 42. These envelopes were open as the jurors were walking in, Your Honor, so they are previously open. Detective, I'll approach first with, let me write it on the envelope so I don't forget the numbers. 41. Do you recognize that object?
Yes,
And what is that?
that's the magazine that was recovered. I'm showing that photograph on the screen.
In the master bedroom closet?
Correct.
Okay. Can you describe what that object is, or tell us the features of it? What's the brand of that object?
It's a Glock brand magazine, which has a capacity of 6 rounds that can be loaded. And a semi-automatic firearm, the rounds are loaded into the magazine. As you press them down, they're loaded to capacity. And then once the magazine is filled to whatever ammunition is available or to capacity, it's then seated inside of the weapon. The weapon is then charged to chamber a round into the chamber. It makes the gun ready at that time.
Okay. And you specifically said this was for a Glock, correct?
Glock 43,
Okay. 9mm.
9mm.
And then People's 42 has, you want to count how many there are there?
There were 6 live rounds of ammunition for all 9mm.
Are they all the same make and model? Yeah.
Yes.
And what caliber are they?
9mm.
And what's the brand?
Same Luger.
Can you say that again?
SIG, S-I-G, Luger, L-U-G-E-R. Okay. These, I'll put one of these on the screen. First time I put up Eagles 41, that's the magazine, correct?
Correct.
And then next to it, I'll put one of the items from Eagles 42. That's the unfired bullet, correct?
Correct, that's a live round of 9mm.
Okay. And then on the bottom is where it says SIG 9mm Luger, correct?
Correct.
I'm gonna put that back in envelope number 42, and I'll put the magazine back in envelope 41. Did you observe any guns in the defendant's home which would accept or utilize the magazine from Marcus Eagles 41?
No. None that I found, none that were pointed out to me or identified by anybody else in the search.
In your experience owning firearms, specifically with semi-automatic firearms, is it common that if you own a gun, you may possess multiple magazines for that firearm?
Yes. My experience, anytime I purchased a gun, semi-automatic specifically, it's come with more than just one magazine.
Based on your experience in law enforcement and with gun ownership specifically, are you aware of any purpose why someone would possess a single handgun magazine without also possessing a gun capable of accepting?
Objection or close speculation.
Sustain.
During the entirety of the search at the defendant's home, did you personally observe any fake guns, prop guns, or starter guns?
I did not, and nothing to that description was pointed out to me or identified during the search.
During the search, did you observe any ammunition or a prop gun, a fake gun, or a starter gun?
No, I did not, and along the same lines, nothing was identified to me by any other member of the search team.
When related to this case, were you first made aware that there was an allegation that the gun used at the scene was a prop gun, a fake gun, or a starter pistol?
Objection.
Hold on.
He was made aware.
You are
Overruled.
You can answer, Detective. So when related to this investigation was the first time that you were made aware the allegation that the gun used at the scene was a prop gun, a fake gun, or a starter pistol?
I believe it was last Monday, which was the 20, I'd have to look at my calendar. But it was Monday when I think you called to let me know, and I was made aware that that was, it was
Okay, when you say the Monday, would it have been, around when jury selection started in this case, or was there already evidence being presented?
That was when, right during jury selection.
Okay, around the 20th, would that sound about right?
Yes,
Of January?
right,
And we're talking about 2025.
2021.
I don't have anything else in here.
This would probably be a good time to take a break. All right, folks, the clock has been adjusted, so the clock is now accurate. So let's break until 5 minutes to 3, at which time we will resume. Please don't discuss the case amongst yourselves or leave. If you give them the ladder and replace the battery.
okay with that.
No, not right there. But thank you. Maybe, thank you.
The surveillance video contained in People's Exhibit 15 is a true and correct copy of that video. The system, video, date, and timestamp are approximately 2 to 3 minutes faster than the actual time. You've been stipulated.
So stipulated by the defense?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just, you and I have spoken before.
Yes,
Had it,
we have.
you know, we understand that preliminary hearing in November of 2023, right?
Correct.
By the way, let's just start out where you finished off. You asked some questions about when you personally were made aware of, one of the issues raised by the defense of Mr. Mayor's being in possession of a prop gun. And you said it was fairly recently before the trial started, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Obviously, you never spoke to Mr. Mayor's from the day of the incident until today.
Correct.
All right. You never spoke to 12E from the day of the incident until today.
Correct.
All right. You never spoke to Blue 11 from the day of the incident, correct?
Correct.
All right. You certainly don't know what Mr. Mayor Rocky has told his attorneys several years ago, do you?
I'm not aware.
And of course, you know, there's no depositions in criminal cases, correct?
Correct.
So basically what you're being asked are questions related to discovery and disclosure in a criminal case, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. One second. All right, sir. So you were assigned to investigate this case, I think it was November 9th
November 9th.
of 2021, along with detectives Monto and you, correct?
Correct.
And you've been sitting here in court every day at the trial watching everybody else,
For the most part, yes.
for the most part, yeah. And as the detective assigned to this case, you're familiar with all the police reports generated in connection with this case.
Yes.
And because police reports are relied on at hearings and trials like this one, as a case detective, you want to ensure that those reports are as complete and accurate as possible, right?
Yes, I mean, they are a summary of the information gathered. But there are other parts of the information that's gathered to go along with that, recordings, interviews, stuff like that, but it's a summary.
Sure. But you want that summary to be as accurate as possible. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And as the case detective, you spoke with other officers with knowledge about this case as part of your investigation.
Yes, we did.
And obviously, there's for example, you reviewed and retrieved the video recordings pertaining to this incident.
Correct, we
Some of
did.
what we talked about and just seen, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. 1616 East Belmar is one, right?
Yes,
6200 Hollywood is Hollywood Boulevard.
yes,
Hollywood Boulevard is another. Yes, sir.
correct.
And you retrieved the East Belmar video on November 9th, 2021.
That's correct.
Okay, and the Hollywood Boulevard video, I think it was a few weeks later, November 18th.
I believe that is correct.
Now, on November 8th, 2021, law enforcement received 2 9mm Luger shell casings from Mr. Efron.
Correct, per the initial crime report, yes.
Yes. And those shell casings were submitted to the fingerprint analysis lab about 2 weeks later on November 21st, 2020.
I believe that's when they were tested, yes.
You're familiar that the fingerprints can typically be left behind on bullets when they're touched and loaded in a firearm, right?
There is always a possibility anything that's touched can leave a fingerprint trace behind.
So the answer is yes, they can, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the latent print lab, the LAPD latent print lab unit completed its fingerprint analysis of those 2 shell casings on November 23rd, 2020.
That sounds correct.
And after examining the casings provided by Mr. Efron, law enforcement lifted exactly 0 fingerprints off them, correct?
That's right. 0 prints for the,
So there were no fingerprints of anyone on those shell casings.
that's correct.
On April 20th of 2022, so we're fast forwarding a little bit, you secured a search warrant to obtain DNA swabs from Mr. Mayers.
Correct, that was included in the search warrant for that date that it was executed.
Right. And in order to obtain that search warrant, you swore to a judge that DNA from Mr. Mayers was clearly necessary for analysis for probable cause purposes as well as evidential purposes.
Yes, to include potential evidence that could be in custody or that could be collected at some point during the investigation. A comparison can be made. If any evidence that we have or collect along the way can be compared to.
Correct. And after getting the search warrant for Mr. Mayers' DNA, you took samples of his saliva on April 20th, 2022.
Yes, as part of that arrest, there were samples taken.
And although you affirmed that DNA was clearly necessary as part of the case, law enforcement never submitted anything for DNA analysis in this case.
Correct, we didn't collect or have anything further to compare it to. At least it was, correct.
The alleged altercation between Mr. Efron and Mr. Mayers took place on November 6, 2021, around 10:17 p.m. This little altercation lasted about 25 seconds, that whole thing.
Roughly,
According to you, based on your knowledge from the investigation and your review of the videos in this case, after leaving the scene of the altercation at around 10:17, Mr. Efron initially claimed he returned to the scene at around 11:09 p.m.
Good object as to, vague as to what he's talking about when Mr. Efron did this.
They, they're on accurate, 11:09, every minute.
Yes, sir. I'm not sure about the exact time, but I think he roughly said within an hour of the incident.
Would you agree it's somewhere around, the events of that time, 11:09? Okay, I can go to the preliminary hearing on just read the question and answer. I'm trying not to be.
I don't see it as being impeached. Why don't you tell him, just clarify what it was that,
Mr. Efron told you 52 minutes more later, he came back to the scene, correct?
I don't recall him saying the exact time, but I do recall him saying roughly within an hour after the initial incident. He returned.
And you got that from watching the videos, correct?
On first review, yes, that's what I believe was consistent.
And I understand your testimony is now changed to say you don't think it's in, but initially, you certainly thought that person we saw was in
Yes,
at 11:09, right?
yes, that was my belief.
Okay. And to you, at least, that was Mr. Efron in the videos,
That was my belief because it was consistent with the time frame that he provided.
right? Was consistent with what Mr. Efron told law enforcement.
Correct, within the hour estimate.
And that person, whoever that person was, Mr. Efron initially said it was him, you believe it was him initially, leaves the scene at 11:11 p.m., 2 minutes later.
Roughly.
Object, the first part of this question seems to back on evidence.
No, it's not good evidence.
sorry, stop, read the question back.
And that person, whoever that person was, Mr. Efron initially said it was him. Let me read it again now.
I can approach her and try not to speak in objection.
I frankly don't remember this.
You aren't so comfortable, I'm not really down, I'm not trying to mislead, but I'm just saying initially he said it was him, that's what my question was. I know now it's changed, the whole Mr. Efron, okay? But initially, he said it was him, so whoever that person was, I started my question out with. Who Mr. Efron initially said was him, left the scene 2 minutes later.
I don't know if it's evidence or not. I can't remember every single.
You just said it.
I would change the objection to being argumentative. If he wants to ask, did that person leave within 2 minutes, I have no problem with that. But we don't need the argumentative part getting into that question.
You know, I'm not, hold on a second, I can do this easy. Did Mr. Efron initially say that that was him?
I don't recall if he used those words exactly. I believe he made a comment that may have indicated that, but
Well, for instance, did you were here when he testified at this trial?
correct.
Do you remember when he said at this trial from the jury that he was sure that that was him?
Yes,
Okay. So, just a week ago, or a few days ago, Mr. Efron said that was him, correct?
correct.
So whoever that person was, that person that Mr. Efron swore it was him to this jury initially, left 2 minutes later.
Roughly within 2 minutes, that person left.
Objection to the front, as phrased.
Yes.
And to be clear, you observed all the video footage that was recovered in this case.
Yes,
So if that is not, in your position, it's not Mr. Efron, at least you don't think it's Mr. Efron. Based on your testimony today, you have absolutely no video showing Mr. Efron ever returning to the scene, correct?
correct.
Now, amongst the video you reviewed in this case was a body cam footage worn by officers at the scene who responded to that, correct?
Correct.
You watched that? Yes, sir.
Yes,
And you're aware, before Mr. Efron or whoever that person was returned to the scene 52 minutes later, law enforcement had arrived.
yes,
And certainly before, if Mr. Efron returned to the scene, Shortly before Mr. Efron returned to the scene, law enforcement had arrived.
Correct.
And the police arrived at the scene about 18 minutes after the incident.
Yes, roughly.
And there were at least 7 officers there.
Yes,
And while they were at the scene of the incident, 18 minutes after it ended, at least 7 officers were canvassing the area.
yes. They are walking in and about the area of Selma and this is the one.
And you saw them on the video searching the area of the location.
Yes. Adjacent parking lot, yes.
Using the flashlights,
Correct.
looking on the ground. You saw them.
Yes.
I know you know this answer, you've been asking that way. You know law enforcement did not cover any casings in this case, correct?
Correct. The officer responded did not find or recover any cases.
No officers ever covered any shell casings.
No.
Right?
No, you're asking from the radio call, the officer that responded initially? No.
Yes. Or any other police officer cover any cases from the scene?
Only the officer at the front desk that, who took the casings.
Yeah, no, my question was from the scene.
Okay, no, not from the scene.
In fact, they didn't locate any sign of shooting, correct?
Correct. Other than the radio call,
But that's a call, and you heard Officer Zizzo testify, I think it's Sergeant Zizzo now, you heard him testify. A lot of people make calls or they can be misinterpreting things, correct? You heard that.
yeah, I mean, there are a lot of reasons. Sometimes people are just not, don't stick around after.
But in any event, you do agree that the officers who arrived 18 minutes later didn't locate any sign of shooting.
That's correct.
And despite that, as shown on the video, after the police left and Mr. Efron returned to the scene, he supposedly located the shell casings by himself without a flashlight within minutes.
I believe he said he used the light on his phone and he located it.
Within minutes.
Yes,
You were in this courtroom when Mr. Efron testified that this individual named 12E had a knife during this incident, right?
yes,
And you're familiar with the summary investigative report related to this case dated August 5th, 2022, sir? Yes.
yes, I am.
And that's a collective sort of prior statements and a summary of the investigation overall.
That is a specifically, that was a filing summary.
And that's what you used to file the case with the district attorney's office.
Correct.
Right. So obviously, in that report, you certainly wouldn't want there to be any accuracies, right?
Correct.
All
It just, as relates to the crime, yes, correct.
That's what relates to the crime.
Yes, sir.
Your name is on that report, right, sir?
My name is on the,
And what you wrote in the last line of the first page of this report, the collective statements, is that the victim observed Ulanga, in AP Illz, was armed with a knife. Did you write that?
I didn't author this report.
Okay. Is it in that report?
It is in that report.
So some police officer wrote that.
Yes,
Who, do you
I
know?
believe that was my partner, Detective Conch.
Where'd he go? He used to be there, right?
He was in the back of the property.
He's gone. But he was there. The guy was
Yeah, he's been here.
He's right. And it was brought to your attention during the preliminary hearing on November 20th, 2023, that this report said Mr. Efron identified AP Illz as the one armed with a knife. We discussed that in the preliminary hearing, so.
Yes, sir.
And if you thought that that report was inaccurate, you certainly could have asked for that to be changed at any point, correct?
Yes, sir. I mean, but honestly, yes, that was a mistake. But the prior interviews that were recorded of Mr. Efron from the telephonic interview on the 9th and the in-person interview on December 17th, 2021, he was consistent on both interviews that the person with the knife was in fact 12. The report prepared for that August filing, there was an error and it did indicate the wrong person. That is correct.
Well, as I just asked you, if you thought that report was inaccurate, you could have asked that to change, correct?
Yes.
And you never did.
No, I mean, I answered your question. I mean, the record, I think, believe, captured through the interviews is clear what Mr. Efron said versus what our mistake was.
No, it's not my question. Did you change your report?
No, we did not generate another report to correct.
So, you were here obviously last Tuesday, January 28th, when Mr. Efron testified on the record that he saw a knife being held after Rocky put the alleged gun away, correct?
Correct.
All right. And with regard to the knife, Mr. Efron told police in November of 2021 that he saw the knife being held while Rocky was pointing the alleged gun at him, and he was yelling at Rocky, right?
Correct, I believe that's the way it was described in that crime.
So while Rocky's holding the alleged gun at him and pointing it at him, he's seeing a knife simultaneously.
You've seen it during that event, correct?
Not doing that event, while the gun is being pointed at him, correct?
That's the way it's described in the report, yes, sir.
You also heard Mr. Efron's testimony last Tuesday, January 28th, that he saw the knife being put away, and he then said, "What the F you got a knife for?" Remember that testimony last week?
Yes, sir.
And in November of 2021, Mr. Efron told the police that only after he said, "Why you got a knife," did that knife get put away. Recall that?
I don't recall that specifically, sir.
I'll show you.
Okay.
It's 77 in our database. It's please follow the investigation report from November 9th, 2020.
Object.
Sustained, the objection is sustained.
What was it found for?
It's improper, because it wasn't his report.
This is not the proper person to either refute or confirm what Relli, Efron told some other officer. So the objection is sustained. Go on, sir.
Okay, all right, move on. Maybe that you saw an arrest warrant on Mr. Mayor's on April 13th, 2022.
Correct, that's the date it was signed.
And to be clear, law enforcement received Mr. Efron's complaint 5 months earlier, November 8th, 2021.
When we received it, it would have been the 9th, it was, the initial report was taken on the 8th, correct?
8th or the 9th, but 9th of November 2021, you guys, PD, like the station house guy, November 8th, right?
Correct.
On that same day, law enforcement received November 8th, 2 9mm Ruger casings from Ms. Efron.
Correct.
The next day, you along with Detectives Camacho and Henry spoke to Ms. Efron again at Lennon.
Yes, telephonic interview.
By the way, that same day, November 9th, Mr. Efron told you he decided not to become involved in Rocky's music business any longer. You know saying that?
I believe the statement's correct.
And also on November 9th, 2021, law enforcement received surveillance video pertaining to the incident from 1616 East Belmont
Correct.
and Hollywood Boulevard on November 18th,
Yes.
6200. Yeah.
Correct.
And on November 10th, 2021, law enforcement obtained authorization to search T-Mobile information for Illijah, Ulanga, or AP Illz phone number.
Correct, for search warrant.
Sorry.
Yes.
And specifically, the T-Mobile information law enforcement obtained authorized to search Illz, Illijah, Ulanga, AP Illz, his call detail records and his GPS location.
Correct.
And the GPS location tab, I should say.
Yes.
And those records, the GPS location tab that you all were able to obtain, show that Illijah Ulanga, AP Illz cell phone was near Selma Avenue in East Del Mar, approximately 10:12 p.m. on November 6th.
I believe that's correct.
And those records also show that Illz, I'm just going to refer to Illz so move this along a little bit. AP Illz cell phone was near Mr. Mayor's residence at 11 p.m. later that night.
Yes, so it's going after you.
In addition to law enforcement gaining access, by the way, you also gained access to Mr. Efron's cell phone, correct?
Subsequent to his arrest, the physical phone, yes.
Yes.
No.
No, Mr. Efron.
Oh, I'm sorry. Correct, he did, voluntarily.
That was in November 2020.
Yes.
Correct. So you had access to his phone.
Yes, he did.
By the way, did he mention that he had deleted any messages before you had that phone?
I don't remember asking him specifically if he had.
Could be volunteer,
I don't recall that it was volunteer.
particularly with the guy who was making the complaint about this guy, this Efron. He didn't mention they had deleted messages between him.
Correct, nothing was volunteered as far as that.
And you wouldn't know to ask that, obviously, right?
He was cooperative and provided his phone. Yeah, and was,
You wouldn't know to ask that, I said.
I wouldn't know.
And the information on that phone contained Mr. Efron's communications, as far as you knew, with Mr. Mayers, with Ills and Terell.
Correct,
And as of November 2021, law enforcement had Mr. Efron's statement, one, correct?
correct.
Cell phone records, two, yes.
I believe so, by that,
Video of the incident,
some of it is correct.
well, which video did you not have by the end of November 2021?
At the end of November, correct, I touched it November 17th, I touched.
No. So, because the last video you got on November 8th, right?
Correct.
So let's again. In the month of November 2021, you had the collective police officers and law enforcement
Correct.
at Mr. Efron's statement. Yes.
Yes, sir,
You had cell phone records in this case.
yes,
You had video of the incident,
correct,
and you had two shell cases provided by Mr. Efron.
correct.
But you still waited another 5 months until April of 2022 to arrest Mr. Mayers.
Yes, I mean, there were other factors involved.
Yes or yes?
Yes,
And during those 5 months, from November 2021 until Mr. Mayer's arrest in April of 2022, law enforcement recovered nothing else, no additional evidence to use against Mr. Mayers, correct?
correct,
In fact, during those 5 months, law enforcement never contacted 12E, never tried to find 12E or contacted him, correct?
no, we never were able to contact him.
Able, did you try?
No, I'm sorry, at that point, no.
Okay. And you understood that 12E was present during the incident, obviously.
Correct, we understood, they were present during the whole appointment.
Now, obviously, he would be an important potential witness in this case.
Could be,
Who's that? Right?
yes, sir,
And you testified as the case detective, it's your job to look for all relevant information, right?
correct,
So to be clear, you arrested Mr. Mayers without even trying to speak to 12E.
Sustained.
Let's now move over to the house search that you conducted, okay? So this was on April 21st, you conducted the extensive search of Mr. Mayer's residence, correct?
yes, April 20th, 2022.
And during the search, aside from what we all saw, we'll get into that when we ask you about those things. You also saw boxes in his residence, right?
I'm sorry?
Boxes, like corporate boxes.
Yes,
All right, I'm gonna just show you a picture of these things. You want, I guess we'll identify them as we go through the exhibit to each one.
Oh, these have not been marked.
Correct.
All right, your next exhibit is W's in Woody.
Is it easier for you to see back there, or is it just being at it?
it's easier to see.
Okay, so you could turn around. This is W form?
Yes, W.
Okay. That's one of the photos you see, Vince packed in cardboard boxes there.
Correct,
Did you learn whether or not Mr. Mayers is in the process of a move this morning?
I was not aware that he was in the process.
How about the next one is? That would be defense.
X, as an X-ray.
You see those boxes there?
Yes, they did.
By the way, can I go back to the last photo, the W, I think? Those cardboard boxes that you see in this photo, did you search those?
The closed boxes, no.
I'm gonna just look for it. I know you said, yes. Closed boxes. Did you say? Oh, closed boxes.
Yes,
Oh, I
sealed
think you said
boxes.
closed, okay, closed. Closed boxes, sealed, okay. So you did not search those?
No.
Okay, next, please. No, the other lessons. Okay, this one too. Did you search any of those bags or boxes there?
I don't recall going through them myself. I know the rooms that we've gone through.
I'm sorry?
I did not go through that room myself. I don't recall going through that room. But I know each room was searched by part of the team.
So if that room was searched and those boxes were searched, would there be a report on that?
If there was anything, again, found relative to the investigation, like items that we were highlighted or listed, yes.
Well, you agree that those sealed boxes obviously weren't searched, right?
Correct.
The next one, please, which will be defense.
Why, as in Young?
Wise, same thing here, Wise and Young, as well as when that box wasn't searched right there, correct?
Correct.
All right. Next,
C's and Zebra.
please, Zebra. Those suitcases, were they opened and searched, do you know?
I don't recall specifically from my memory.
Next,
AA, Adam.
AA. Same question.
Correct.
Sealed boxes were not opened and searched, correct?
Correct.
All right. Is that it?
One more.
One more.
BB.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I got to come up a little bit. These, a lot of colors and a lot of things there, but any of these sealed boxes that you see in the photo there,
No, sir.
they were not searched. And during the search, law enforcement did not recover a 9mm firearm, correct?
That's correct.
You did recover a 9mm, Glock 9mm magazine,
That's correct.
and it was full, correct?
Yes, it was to capacity, 6 rounds.
Did you ever take the prints off of that magazine?
No.
You never printed that magazine?
No.
You were capable of doing that, correct?
Yes, sir, since it came from his bedroom, I didn't have it processed.
Okay. And there were 6 Sig Luger 9mm cartridges, right?
In the magazine?
Yeah, in
Yes.
the magazine, right? The 9mm cartridges were not loose or anything,
No.
they're inside that magazine. And that 9mm magazine, those 6 cartridges in the box, they were found in the box containing other magazines and other cartridges that were not 9mm.
That's correct.
Can you show the pictures? So what I'm gonna do, Ted, I'm just gonna show you real quickly, something that you've already seen, but you may have seen too. Just the pictures of the 2 shell casings recovered by Mr. Efron. And the 6 shell cases recovered inside the magazine.
Okay.
So the ones on the left there, are say C. You see those?
This is defense exhibit?
It is, right?
Okay, this is gonna be CC, Charlie.
Okay, CC, right. So the ones on the left, right there, so yes, those are the Sig Luger 9mm cartridges.
Yes, these are the live rounds that were recovered from the magazine and contained within the magazine.
Okay. And those are different cartridges, obviously, the brand of the one on the right is what's called FC or Federal.
Yeah, FC Luger.
Right.
On the right are the spent casings,
Right. And Sig is the other one.
and the live rounds are Sig, Sig.
6 hour?
6 hour Luger.
Okay, thanks. You also recovered, was it 2 rifle magazines as well?
Correct.
As part of your investigation, you learned that Mr. Mayers was licensed to possess firearms. As part of your investigation, did you learn whether or not Mr. Mayers was licensed to carry firearms?
Objection, calls for yes or no.
Nothing I can confirm, but I heard he did.
You did, okay. And, those two,
Anything after nothing I could confirm as being non-responsive.
Sustain, the answer's true.
and
Calls for yes.
the two, the one gun, what was it called? You know the name of that 44 Magnum? Desert Eagle. Desert Eagle. That was Mr. Mayers, that was registered to Mr. Mayers.
Correct.
Right, registered to Mr. Mayers.
Yes.
Object is again, culture here, so.
Overruled.
And the rifle was also registered to Mr. Mayers.
Second objection.
Overruled. That's correct.
Okay. Meaning legally registered to him, correct?
Yes, both those weapons are registered.
And the other weapon, gun, whatever you call it, that was recovered was the shotgun.
It's a shot.
And that was registered to an individual named Ulanga.
I don't remember who specifically was registered to, but it was a legal.
It was a legal weapon.
Correct.
Also, all 3 were legal weapons.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, that shotgun was given back to its rightful owner before he left the scene, correct?
I don't recall if it was that Mr. Levin took it. That's just my recollection.
Okay, it's okay. Well, what would refresh your recollection?
I don't know if there's anything, obviously, Mr. Levin took possession of the house when we left. He took charge of the house, so what he removed after that, I'm not aware.
Okay. I'm talking about what he removed, I'm talking about what you removed. You removed the 2 guns registered to Mr. Mayers, correct?
No.
You saying you left them in the house?
Yes,
You sure about that?
yes,
So you left those 2, the Magnum and the rifle in the house?
yes,
And obviously the shotgun you left there as well?
yes, those are all legal weapons. And
All legal.
not part of what our search warrant encompasses.
Okay, okay. By the way, you never asked Mr. Efron if he had firearms back in November of 2021, did you?
I don't recall asking him, he was called making inquiries as far as runs or checks. And I don't recall finding any guns registered to him during that period of time.
Or I'm gonna read the preliminary hearing, page 271, lines 2 to 4. And the one's right.
What purpose is this hearing?
Impeachment, you just said, don't full ask.
It would be, it's not impeachment, it's a refresh.
Okay, refresh on that.
Just volume 1 or volume 2? What's the page?
Page 271, your arm, lines 2 through 4.
You just take the floor testify?
Sorry, yes, of course.
What lines?
2 through 4.
Fair game.
I'm gonna,
It's fair game.
Karen, can I?
No.
You were asked by
You
the,
follow it up if you want.
did you ever ask Mr. Efron if he had firearms back in 2021? Answer, not specifically. Now, you were here the other day when it was revealed that Mr. Efron was on a firing range in Los Angeles in October, late October 2021, correct?
Correct.
By the way, the search of the house had 21 officers, more or less.
More or less.
When you spoke to Mr. Efron on November 9th, 2021, Mr. Efron told you that he believed he was grazed on his left hand knuckle area.
Object to facts and evidence. I talked to him.
I'm sorry? He did not lie?
You have to inquire whether he said that. You're saying when the detective spoke to him, it assumes that that's what Efron said. So ask him if Efron said that.
Okay, this is short.
I know.
Okay. So on November 9th, 2021, did Mr. Efron tell you that he believed he was grazed on his left knuckle area?
Yes,
And despite supposedly being grazed by a bullet on November 6, 2021, Mr. Efron did not seek medical attention until returning to New York.
that's my understanding, yes.
And even though Mr. Efron waited to fly across country to receive medical treatment, obviously there are hospitals in Los Angeles that could have treated him, this injury, whatever it was.
Yes, sir.
Fact is, Mr. Efron only went to the hospital after Detective Menifee on November 9, 2021, during a phone call, told him that he needs to go get medical attention or medically treated because of the type of case that this is, correct?
Objection calls for speculation.
Okay, Your Honor, there's a tape in evidence that I'll play a portion of. You have the clip
I would object seriously.
in evidence.
The jury's already heard, so
It's evidence.
technically, it is hearsay. Go on to something else. The jury's already heard it. You can play it in final argument.
Okay, did you hear it? Did you hear it?
I remember the comment, I remember that line of questioning, and I think I made a comment prior to that as well.
Okay.
And I think in the context that he was making a comment about his injury, and I think I also suggested he should get it looked at, and I think that's when Detective Menifee also made your statement.
Her statement was that he needs to go get medically treated because of the type of case that this is, correct?
I believe that's the context.
And with regard to his statements, Mr. Efron first reported this incident to the police. Again, just to be clear, 2 days later, November 8, 2021.
Correct.
He didn't call 911.
No.
Didn't go to the police on November 6, 2021.
That's correct.
Waited 2 days before reporting to law enforcement.
Yes, sir.
And when he did finally walk to a police station in Los Angeles to report to law enforcement, he did so in person with his attorney, Brian Hurwitz.
Yes.
And you were here last week when Mr. Efron testified on cross-examination that he did not recall telling law enforcement that he told his attorney, Brian Hurwitz, who told him to retrieve the shell casings from the scene. Were you here, sir?
Object is to evidence.
Were you here when he said that?
I believe I was.
But when Mr. Efron reported the incident to the police, he did, in fact, make that claim, correct? He told the police that after the alleged shooting, he called attorney Brian Hurwitz, and that Mr. Hurwitz told him to return to the scene of the altercation and retrieve the shell casings. Do you remember that?
Vague
Sure.
as to what he's talking about. Vague.
Read it back, please.
When Mr. Efron reported the incident to the police, he did in fact make that claim, correct? He told the police that after the alleged shooting, he called attorney Brian Horowitz, and that Mr. Horowitz told him to return to the scene of the altercation and retrieve the shell casings.
What's the legal name?
Vague. He's saying
It is, yeah, it's just-
police.
it is.
And he told you that Brian Hurwitz, his attorney, instructed him to return to the scene to retrieve the shell casings, correct?
I'm trying to recall the exact context. I know he made several calls and he was given advice to go back. I don't remember the sequence of phone calls with Mr. Hurwitz.
Okay, let me see if I can refresh your recollection. I'm gonna show you your report.
Okay.
75 is the August 5th, 2022.
Is this the first page?
Second page.
So weird, but.
Yeah. It was a second arms. I don't see this.
I'm gonna object as to we approach.
Anything can be used to refresh recollection.
Your Honor, you already ruled on this, that's my issue. I don't wanna do a speaking section, if you don't mind, we just wait for the approach.
Yes.
So this is, let me just show you. Know what it is. Okay. Just read this part here. 1, 2, 3 processes. Detective, having read that, does it refresh your recollection that Mr. Efron mentioned that he was told by his attorney to return to the scene of the altercation and retrieve the gun case?
Yes.
That's not what that even says, Your Honor, and the court read it.
You want to read it verbatim? You just said yes, first of all, Mike. That's exactly.
The answer yes?
The answer is yes.
Go on to something. The objection's overruled.
Okay. You and Detective Manfrey eventually interviewed Mr. Efron's attorney, Brian Hurwitz, on March 22nd.
Objection to all this.
Sustained.
In any event, law enforcement secured Mr. Efron's phone records from the night of the incident, November 6, 2021.
Correct.
And the incident happened at 10:17 p.m. That's, I think we've established 25 seconds more or less. Sir,
Yes, roughly from one incident to the second incident to the end.
and as you say, Mr. Efron, an individual returned to the scene at 11:09, correct?
Correct, based on the video camera.
Based on video camera. And you'd agree, by the way, that Mr. Efron's phone records do not show a single call between him and Brian Hurwitz between 10:17 and 11:09.
Not that I recall, no, sir.
And in fact, Mr. Hurwitz's phone number, which in one of your reports, I'm not going to say it out loud here, appears in Mr. Efron's phone records on November 10th, 2021 at 12:19 p.m. LA time.
I'm not sure about the exact dates.
Object this to relevance.
So,
I'm not exactly sure about the date and time of that first call with Mr. Hurwitz on that line.
okay. So you want to stick with it, then you can show me the report. Other time.
I don't want to do it.
You should. Want to use the report 105 to this? Let's see if I can speed this along. Do you remember, in search of Mr. Efron's phone records, there not being a call to Mr. Hurwitz until a few days later?
I recall some point after, yes.
Yeah.
Correct,
All right, that's, that's fine.
at least directly, that showed up directly.
But certainly not on November 6th, going into the morning, of November 7th,
Again, nothing directly.
directly as opposed to indirectly.
A three-way call, somebody, three-way to call, anything like that.
Did you see any indication of three-way call on the phone records?
I don't know that it would necessarily reflect three-way calls, just a direct call to somebody. But again, not that I'm aware of until after.
Well, did you see any calls between time of 10:17 and 11:09, for example? Mr. Efron's phone?
I don't recall seeing any calls between the time.
As detective, you agree, when conducting an investigation of an alleged shooting, you wouldn't want anyone who's not law enforcement moving evidence or taking evidence from the scene, right?
Correct,
Because that could tamper with and hinder your investigation.
it can.
Now, you interviewed Mr. Efron's girlfriend, correct?
Correct,
Ms. Parker,
yes.
you never took Ms. Parker's phone?
No.
Okay. So therefore, obviously, you never examined it to see what texts or calls have been made from it.
Not from her phone physically, no.
You said you saw the videos in this case,
Yes,
all of them.
yes.
You never saw a video with Ms. Parker returning to the scene.
None that were collected.
And I want to ask a question, but I'm not, well, we're out of the court's ruling, and it's a question that would be prejudicial to them if I asked it and you.
All right, why don't you come on up, off the record, let me know what it is.
Yeah. You saw that, I think we discussed, I don't know if Mr. Rizzo played it for you, but the in-person interview with Mr. Efron in December of 2021, where you showed the video of what was initially him returning to the scene. You saw that here?
Correct.
Okay. And when he was watching the video, he said initially that was him, correct?
Yes, that's what, I mean, he indicated by the form of the question. You're talking about the interview on December 17th?
The interview on December 17th regarding the person returning at 11:09.
Correct.
Yes, that was him, right?
That was, again, what he was indicating in the form of his questioning.
You heard Mr. Efron's testimony regarding that and the evolution of that belief. He first testified here before the jury that that was him. And Mr. Rizzo asked him, he was sure that that was him. You recall that, and then he subsequently changed to that time. That's saying
Sustain to the word evolution.
changed, which I thought was a synonym for evolution, changed into it wasn't. You saw that testimony?
Yes,
Okay. And you heard Mr. Efron say his girlfriend was there, but he then said maybe she was in the parking lot. You remember him saying that?
correct,
Meaning that may be the reason why she's not on video?
correct.
Okay. And then Mr. Rizzo asked him about the clothes being different, like he did with you just now. You remember what Mr. Efron initially said?
Objection, relevance, and hearsay.
He was just asked on the record.
I don't recall his exact response.
Remember him saying, I'm sure that was me, but I probably went and changed my clothes. Remember testifying to that?
I'm sorry, I didn't see.
Okay, it's okay. During your in-person interview with Mr. Efron on December 2021, you asked him why he continued to follow Mr. Mayor's if he knew he had a gun, right?
Yes,
Because according to you, you told him that would seem to be an odd thing to do.
yes,
And when you asked him that, why did he continue to follow Mr. Mayers after seeing a gun? Mr. Efron couldn't give you a clear answer. What he said was, I don't know why.
first part of the question is argumentative. Excuse me, the first part of the question is argumentative, the second part is not. Read the question back.
What was just on that one?
Oh,
Not for argument.
When you asked him that, why did he continue to follow Mr. Mayers after seeing a gun? Mr. Efron couldn't give you a clear answer. What he
Yeah, all
said,
That part.
That part about Efron couldn't give
You
it.
get what I understand.
Ask the question again.
I'm gonna ask it again. When you asked Mr. Efron, why did he continue to follow Mr. Mayers after seeing a gun? What he said was he didn't know why.
Correct.
With respect to the video recovered in this case, which you've seen the image of Mr. Mayers holding an object, which according to you appears to be a gun. You agree, without having that object, you cannot tell if that is an operable gun, correct?
On the first incident,
Yes, sir.
yes,
On the video where you see Mr. Mayers holding what appears to be a gun.
correct. On the parking structure, the first video camera, yes. I
Right.
mean, without it, anything else appearing on that video, other than him holding what I believe to be a handgun, I cannot determine whether or not that's an operational gun or firearm gun. Correct.
And with regard to the video incident, after reviewing the footage captured from 16 Vista Del Mar, that law enforcement prepared a document entitled Video Download Information Summary. Remember that?
Yes,
And in that document, law enforcement described what it could observe in the footage. Which one? Here's Terell. Here's. You prepared a document describing what you could observe in the video footage, correct?
correct. Notes that kind of detail what specifically can timestamp at certain points of different angles, angle per angle, and then obviously looking at everything collectively from all the angles together.
And for example, what you saw appeared to be a struggle on the street at 2217.
Correct.
Specifically, what that video shows is Mr. Efron apparently struggling with Ills, they said Ills.
Yes,
And you also detailed approximate distances observed within the video, right?
roughly.
And you listed various times of various events seen on the video.
Correct.
You described that as a subject, you described that a subject was in a dark colored jacket or sweater.
Correct.
In preparing the report, obviously you want to document anything that you observed on the video which was considered important with respect to the case.
Yeah, just give a rough timestamp of what the events took place and give it a holistic view at the end of which we can look at all the pieces together and tell the story.
But in the report, you didn't want to leave anything important out.
Well, again, these are just notes to mark timestamps. So yes, what I thought was important relative to that frame.
And clearly, as part of the investigation, you think was if a gun or a shooting were observed on the video from 1616 Vista Del Mar, that's something you would have documented in your summary, correct?
Again, sir, it's collectively, I mean, that's part of A, where the incident began, where we observed a gun. B, where the struggle took place, and you can see various individuals running in different directions. And then as we move up, collectively, we see the next video with sound, where we can hear the gunshots. I mean, it's collectively not just one piece.
Okay, so let me just make sure you understood my question. I asked it again.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. We don't be started right now. Clearly, as part of the investigation, if a gun or a shooting were observed on the video from 1616 Vista Del Mar, that's something you would have documented in a summary. Yes?
Yes,
That's it. But that summary that you have, by the way, certainly does not document that a shooting was observed, right?
I mean, not from that angle, it's documented what can actually be observed from that angle, which is, I mean, the view is fuzzy, it gives you an overview of the motion that's going on, but again, pieced together with everything else, it's,
But that document, that summary does not document that a shooting was observed, right?
correct. It does not.
fact, that summary does not even document that a gun was observed in the video from 1616 East Del Mar.
Correct, that first thing is correct.
So you agree there's, in the video, from the video, there's no evidence in the video from 1616 East Del Mar that actual gun was being discharged, correct?
Judge, relevance and video speaks for itself.
Nothing that I could observe in detail that I could see as a gun. Again, it's in frame with everything else, maybe.
Well, here's my question.
Correct.
These are, my question.
All right.
All right? Almost done. You agree from the 1616 Visa Del Mar video, that's that video, the one that shows the whole struggle and all the fuzzy stuff, right? You agree that there is no evidence from that video of an actual gun being discharged, correct?
Correct, from that view by itself, no.
The sequence surveillance video that you put together overlaps video from the 1616 Visa Del Mar video with the audio from the 6200 Hollywood Boulevard video.
Correct.
All right. And that's the People's Exhibit 15, is that right?
It is.
15, okay. And you did that, right? You basically overlapped the video from 1616 Visa Del Mar that had no audio, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the audio from 6200 Hollywood.
Correct.
And you put them together. And you agree that the 1616 Visa Del Mar video, you just said this doesn't have any sound, but the video from 6200 Hollywood Boulevard does.
That's correct.
So you overlapped the videos from each location, trying to show when the shot would have occurred during the 1616 Visa Del Mar video.
Correct.
Okay. Of course, if the overlap detected is off, even by a fraction of a second, the shot would not have occurred during the precise moment shown on the overlap 1616 Visa Del Mar video, correct?
Correct.
And with regard to the 6200 Hollywood Boulevard video, you extracted 3 sets of videos from 3 different cameras maintained by the business at that location.
Correct.
And it's been stipulated, you heard of that, we agreed
Yes.
on something. It's been agreed that the date and timestamp on the 3 cameras from 6200 Hollywood Boulevard are approximately 2 to 3 minutes faster than actual time.
That's correct.
And the reason the cameras are approximately 2 to 3 minutes faster than actual time instead of the exact amount is because each camera's off from an actual time by a different amount.
Yes, I mean, it's not unusual when we collect video.
That's unusual. Okay. So the reason that you're using a range of 2 to 3 minutes as opposed to 2 minutes and 4 seconds is because each of those cameras is off from actual time by a different amount.
Yes.
For instance, on camera 1, you hear the first shot at 10, 15, 53 seconds. Hold on before we play it. We have to mark this. This is a defense exhibit.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to see this states the stipulation.
What's what there?
He's saying the video from 6200 Hollywood was off by 2 to 3 minutes. He's talking about the business, the parking lot entrance and the
What
El
don't you two confirm? If I don't need to get involved, I don't want to get involved.
So that's what I'm saying. The 6200 Hollywood. The one that's off 2 to 3 minutes is this one. good possession. $6,200 I'm not yet, I'm not yet.
Off the record, based on what we just got here, you want us? Yeah.
The day after tomorrow, Thursday, and as close to that time as possible, we will resume second floor and have a return on Thursday. Please don't discuss the case amongst yourself or anybody else.
Sure. 39, exhibit 39, for example, these. They will put up on the screen, whatever it is, any exhibit, doesn't matter what it is, right? This. They will put up on the screen before they were shown to the witness, before, they were just put up on the screen.
Weren't they shown to Detective Flores while he was on stand?
No, they were shown to tech floors like this, so the whole jury saw them also. Again, I didn't object. They're not controversial.
What's the problem?
I don't know what's the problem.
It's a question. Can we do this too?
Yes.
Wait, first of all, not only did I show them to counsel immediately before I put them up, I showed
I'm
them
not complaining.
I showed them to Mr. Tacopina, Mr. Siegel, and the defendant himself to make sure.
You did very nice.
Anything in
So
there.
you both can't speak at the same time.
Well, to get him John, I'm not arguing.
Just to make sure there was nothing in there that he found, too private to
Yeah,
share.
what-
So
what
what I'm
kind-
saying is, I previewed this for them well in advance, so they can make any objections they want.
But I maybe didn't get a part where I'm not complaining and I didn't object. I'm asking a procedural question.
Just show him the photos first.
Okay, that's a joke first, and then I just throw them up here, even though the witness has identified.
You can put them up there and then ask who you can ask. Becky?
Now, one of my, hypothetically, I don't even know if there are. One of my witnesses, right, say, I have a photo of one of my witnesses. I
If
put
it's
it up
not
there.
an objectionable exhibit, and a witness is on the stand and establish a foundation
I
for
put
it,
it right.
then you can put it up.
Okay, so I showed it to them, obviously, if they see a birthday or something, they got a problem, I just do that. And that's what I'm asking. In New York, if I did that, I'd get remanded.
If you did what?
Show it, an exhibit, publicly to the jury before it was entered. Literally, and that's what I was asking. You guys are really California mellow out here.
We're a long way from New York.
Yeah, you are.
All right, anything else?
No.
May I say something on the record? Usually my house is not usually that junk, let's be clear, you know what I'm saying? That's
Cool. Thank you. Thank you.
That puts a whole new, that puts a whole new light on the case. All right, we'll see everybody at
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, everybody in the audience would like to put photos.
Not you, that's all I'll say.
That's all I say.
Here he comes. He's back there. You guys see him? ASAP, your house isn't that messy usually, right?
Rocky, what do you think about Kanye the outfit at Grammys?
Hey, guys. Today, I would really fucking appreciate it.
Come on, y'all. Y'all get in this one.
We are?
Hey, Zeb.
Got some fans here getting like stuff signed, it looks like.
Hey, nigga.
The security guards are really nice. They seem like real pros, you know? Like, as long as you're just not getting in his way, they're totally fine. And even when I've seen people get in his way and they've never been like crazy about it, you know? They seem like true professionals, real gentlemen. I was looking through an ASAP Rocky fan page and I could see the head security guard like with them in photos like all over the world. I'm like, wow, he must be so close to them, you know? I mean, he's not their family, but he travels all over the world with them and is with them like all the time, you know? So yeah, I was kind of spacing out there for a minute, so I'm not quite sure what the view was, but I think you guys saw him walking out. I got a video, so here they go now. We're not really gonna see anything. I mean, they don't like roll down their windows or anything, but they're SUVs. So no court tomorrow. I don't know why. A juror probably has something to do or something, but they're back Thursday at 10:30. So I will stream then, and I'm glad there's no court tomorrow because that gives me a chance to do a big story. Tia, thank you. You're saying I need a raise. I appreciate that. Kelsey, you guys are the best. Vero, yes. I'm fancy. I got my hair out. Fancy, huh? But yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. So thanks so much. See you guys later.